OK, let's get to it then. The title race dominates a lot of the back pages in the Sunday papers. The Sun on Sunday, thirsty work is the headline after Arsenal's victory over Brighton at the Emirates. John, it is a win, albeit a cagey one. Are they convincing you more or not so much that they're going to end that 22-year wait?
Cagey or nervy, Dharmesh? I would say nervy, probably. I do like that back page because it sort of kind of focuses on Martin Odegaard there, who opened up the scoring, didn't he, with that wonderful goal. And I do think Odegaard, I think, is a terrific captain, really respected by his peers and teammates, and a sort of leader for Arteta on the pitch. So I think it was good that he gets his form. But Arsenal missing a few players. 2-0, they're cruising, and you think, oh, this is a good response to earlier in the day. Man City, obviously, a really impressive, hard-fought, ground-out win at sort of Nottingham Forest. And Arsenal have to respond. And you think, wow, OK, they're in the zone here, they're going to do it, and they're going to do it comfortably. And at 2-0, they were putting on the pressure for 3-0, and then suddenly they concede, and then all of a sudden you're feeling the nerves and the tension amongst Arsenal fans. I'm sure you could feel it within the ground. That's what it feels like at the moment. And they've gone from a place, I think, in sort of October, November, when they were winning games for fun and playing ever so well and free-flowing football and relaxing, to a place when they really needed one of the best saves you'll see this season, if not the best, from David Raya to tip it over, to maintain that 2-1 scoreline at the end. Because, wow, I mean, the Sunday Express even lead on the save, a ray of hope. And it really was that good. I mean, it was a remarkable save. But it does talk to some nerves in the Arsenal camp, and they are leaders, and they've got a massive game on Tuesday against Aston Villa, and it just feels as if, they're feeling the pressure, I think, much more than Man City, who've been there, done it, got the T-shirt. Aston Villa, who seem to be just enjoying the ride, if you like, and Arsenal, the fan expectation, the expectations in the ground, huge summer spending spree, who's, really sort of kind of taking the limelight out of those new signings. There's so much pressure and expectation on Arteta this year to win a trophy. I think he's done a great job at Arsenal overall, but he is expected to win a major trophy this year. All those things coming together, I think, is playing into that feeling of nerves.
Jason, John mentioned it there, the anxiety, the nervousness, the caginess almost. The Sunday Telegraph, they focus on that.
Arteta or the crowd?
Well, exactly. Emirates are washed with anxiety, but Arsenal maintain top spot. Sam Dean, who was at the Emirates Stadium, says in recent weeks, the Emirates Stadium has become one of the most anxious arenas in European football. Arsenal are top of the Premier League and the Champions League, into the semi-finals of the Carabao Cup, but it feels like every home match is a source of maximum stress for the club supporters and the players. Mikel Arteta says it's because of a willingness to win, but is there a fine line between willingness and desperation?
Absolutely, yeah. And I think the desperation is winning at the moment. I think it doesn't take an awful lot for that atmosphere to emerge at the Emirates. I think it even goes back to the dog days of Arsene Wenger. There was that kind of frustration that took over at times. Obviously, Arteta's moved that on quite a lot. There's much more unity around the ground. But I think that unity has become almost, as you say, that desperation to finally get over the line. This is a team that I think, once they do win the league, can probably go on and be a very dominant team for quite some time, notwithstanding what obviously Manchester City and Liverpool and others can do. I think the talent is there, the strength is there. I agree with John. I do like Mikel Arteta, although I do think at times he does need to calm down. On the touchline, I just think he transmits an awful lot of anxiety to the players, and you can see it at the Emirates. He is very, very engaged with what's going on the pitch, but sometimes it's a bit too much. And I think those moments come sometimes too early in games. It's almost like very early on they're almost so stressful and trying to score a goal very quickly and and then after that it's almost like, right, we scored, now we can't concede, we can't lose. And I think they've got, and obviously it's part of being a maturing team and winning something, and as John says, I completely agree, he has to win a major trophy this year. And I say once they get over the line, if they get over the line, it will make a huge difference to them. It will be transformative to Arsenal once they win a major trophy again. I think it will be transformative, but it's that anxiety and that desperation, as you talk about, that can they do it? And I have to admit, I do slightly fear for them. I fear that it's been so good in some ways up until this point, top of the Champions League table as well. But still haven't won anything yet, so it's a long way to go. And I would worry a lot if I was them at Manchester City because they're looking really strong.
You know, maybe Arsenal are having their bad patch right now and they're still winning, because let's be honest, the Wolves game was really bad, but they won it. Last week at Everton, I was at Everton and they weren't convincing, but they won. Yesterday they weren't great, but they won. So we all remember, what was it, 4 or 5 weeks ago, that I think they beat Tottenham to 6 points clear, and everyone's saying Arsenal running away with it. This is the bad patch, and they're still top of the league. So perhaps this is a positive, the weather in the storm. And I know they've got a tough January coming up. They've got Villa on Tuesday, like you say. If they win that game, then all of a sudden that's a big
It's
moment.
one of two things, isn't it? It's either that, and I agree with Mark, it could well be that, because every team has a wobble, don't they, during the season. You can't just seamlessly go on and win every single game. But at the start of the season, we're talking about Liverpool in a similar way, weren't we? When they were winning all those games, we're thinking, oh, Liverpool just getting over the line, and then it suddenly fell away. So it could go that way as well.
It's a different narrative with Liverpool. It was almost like they've won the title, so they're winning 5 on the bounce. And even though they weren't playing well, it's because Liverpool, that's what they do. With Arsenal, it's like, oh, this is what Arsenal do, they're wobbling. But beat Villa, right, that's a tough call, because Villa are on a great run at the moment. But I mean, I do think that Arsenal have got a tough January, especially at home. They've got Villa this week, then they've got Liverpool, then they've got Man United. So the next 3 home games are really big. But come through January, if you're still unbeaten at home, then all of a sudden, maybe this was the wobble, and maybe they're kind of showing the kind of the bottle right now. So I still think Arsenal are the best squad in the league. And I think we've kind of put a little bit too much emphasis on Man City because it's Pep. If they lose Erling Haaland, then Man City are a different team completely. So I just think if you're an Arsenal fan, just calm down, stay calm, and it might just turn itself out in a positive way.
John, in your paper, Neil McClellan, who's at the Emirates, says the good news for Arsenal fans is that the Gunners held off a late Brighton fight back to return to the top of the table. The bad news is that there's potentially another 5 months of this nerve-jangling anxiety to go this season. Now, Jason mentioned about Mikel Arteta and his demeanour, and maybe